Hi, GameSpot viewers. It's Kevin Van Ord here, and I'm on the GDC show floor with the incredible Chris Taylor. Chris, how's it going today?
Fabulous, thank you.
That's excellent. And of course, the great designer of many terrific games, Total Annihilation, the often underpraised Dungeon Siege, all these great games that I admire greatly. And now it's actually been a pretty incredible year for you with lots of ups and downs and in-betweens. How are you feeling about the process of being Chris Taylor over the last year?
Yeah, there's no question. It's been a wild ride, and it's really great to be me now standing here as opposed to me 2 or 3 or 4 months ago when, you don't quite know your fate. You don't know where you're going to wind up. It's like I'm just tumbling out of the sky. Am I going to land in a tree or a lake or, have an eagle swing by and I'll land on its back, Lord of the Rings style. You know what I mean? And actually, I think that's kind of what happened in this particular case.
Yeah, and before we get to where you've landed now, of course, now at Wargaming, I have to ask you about Kickstarter real briefly, because obviously Wildman was there, and some of us were really looking forward to seeing Wildman, and of course, it didn't come to be. Do you think that your ideas for this game are going to somehow manifest in different ways? Are we yet to see some of those things come to light, you think?
It's a good question. Of course, there was a lot going on in that design that was very popular, right? You had RPG, you had elements of RTS, of course, with some of the things we liked about MOBA-style games. But one of the things we realized is that gaming as an art form, it's very, very hard to do things that really take things to new directions unless you can have a lot of visuals, unless you have a lot of things you can show and prove and allow people to really understand what you're doing. Otherwise, it's just words. It's just promises. And it's very, very hard to get people behind an idea that's just like that. So we learned a lot about the gap between the initial creative process and what ultimately you need to do to build that idea in someone's mind. So we learned a lot, but it was all good, healthy stuff. You got to fail to succeed, and so we came out of it really enriched by this whole thing, and feel good about it and feel fabulous about where we really ultimately ended up, which is better than anything we could have planned, So
speaking of which, Wargaming, not necessarily a move that I think anybody really expected, certainly something that surprised me. What are the benefits now that Gas Powered is part of, you're now here at Wargaming? What do you bring to that company? What do they bring to you? And what makes this acquisition more unusual than we might have expected?
Yeah, I mean, this is like an ideal scenario. People say, why? I go, well, because you in a very traditional acquisition, you have a publisher acquiring a developer, and you have that sort of awkward friction that you had before, where there was this sometimes not always an alignment of the big goals. Now, this is extremely different because you have a developer that publishes its own titles acquiring a developer, and that is. It changes the chemistry. It changes the way the companies mesh together. When I'm talking about a game design element, and Victor is there, he is a game designer, so he can think about what I'm saying, and it just makes the whole conversation just much easier and more enjoyable. So we I never really stopped and thought about that before. It's not like I ran around saying, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could be acquired by another developer? I mean, we were very independent-minded. We, always thought that independence was there was this glory in independence, but in fact, what we found out is that when you connect to a company like Wargaming, you go from being a team of 30, 40, 50, 100, whatever it is, to a team now of 1,500. And that is an incredible feeling.
What does this mean to you in terms of, as a designer? I mean, I look at these games and I think these aren't necessarily games that I would associate with Mr. Chris Taylor. What do you think you bring to the design process for games like this? What do you think it brings to you as a designer?
Well, my eyes have been opened to the way a free-to-play model can be done and done right. I mean, there's just no question. When I play World of Tanks, I feel like I can feel the design team is on my side. I feel like they care about me, that they respect me. In fact, now I'm in the family here at Wargaming, I now know this to be a fact, because this is what's talked about. It's about the player. It's about really treating them with a tremendous amount of respect. But I'm so excited because, you know, our industry goes through changes. The change from traditional box retail to a downloaded, you know, digitally distributed, free-to-play PvP game, and it's amazing that when you go back, you know, 10 years, no one could really have truly imagined it to the degree that it has happened. And that to me is just this, it's amazing to be in the business and to see these evolutions and to see that it is not just, it's not just changing the business, it's changing the actual gameplay experience in a way that's better, you know, which I love.
Do you think this kind of acquisition, is it only something that could have happened in PC games? Could you have seen anything like this happening in the console space? Is that even a possibility, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough because those businesses are built around the notion that, of course, the revenue is generated in a very, very specific way. And of course, we can only hope that there's going to be advancements and innovations in terms of that customer relationship there. But for right now, I am both personally and professionally excited about what has happened in PC gaming. I just read an article literally just before talking to you that showed that PC gaming revenue is $20 billion and growing. It grew 8%. When you see stuff like that, you just go, awesome. PC gaming, my love, is now just growing again, and what could be better than that?
So you're probably excited about lots of PC games out there. Anything in particular that you've got your eyes on? I think of something like Planetary Annihilation, which has been kickstarted with great success, and obviously a game that's drawing its inspiration from what you've done in the past. Is that exciting to see things that you've done inspiring others now to continue in those directions?
When you take a look at Kickstarter, I was and I really still am. In all fairness, even though I didn't have the greatest success with Kickstarter, I'm still excited about Kickstarter. I love supporting. I mean, half of what I'm doing when I'm pledging is kind of pre-purchasing or ordering a game. The other half is supporting developers that are going to make something new and exciting. And I would really like to see more crazy original games, frankly, supported. We're seeing them there, but we're not seeing them supported like we're seeing a lot of the nostalgic games. I think it's great if we can cover both ends of that spectrum, to see people build stuff that's really, really radically different and new. And hey, and don't just treat it as a pre-order. Treat it as a wild-ass bet that something really awesome could come out. I think if we shift our thinking a little bit, we're going to get even more out of this phenomenon of crowdfunding.
So, the future. What happens now for Chris Taylor and gas-powered games? Now you're in a comfortable place, not a place that you were a short time ago, perhaps. What are the ideas running wild through your mind? What are we going to see that we didn't see coming? Or can you even say anything about that?
It is early. I can say that we're working on an MMO that's PvP, and it will be free to play, and it's hopefully going to be one of the most incredible games that have ever come out of our studio. I shouldn't even couch it. It will be the most incredible game that has ever come out of our studio.
Well, there you go. Chris, thank you for taking the time to talk with me. Thanks to the GameSpot viewers for joining in. Anything else that you want to say to anybody out there before we head out?
No, I think I'm good. I think I've probably said too much already.
Well, there you go. Thanks, GameSpot, for joining in, and we'll see you next time.